It's time for another limited single unit banner like Wehttam, AO, and Apotheosis, except better. Zilong is out of control. Let's talk about Enya. As always, I'm going to present a high-level overview to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. And it is. Spoilers, summon for this unit. Like all single unit banners, you have a 40% chance to get the featured unit with a 60% off-banner chance. The banner will be up for the entire duration of the major update from December 12th to January 8th. It wasn't an extended 5-week update in China, but we should always be prepared for Zilong to throw a wrench into our predictions at this time of year. This update also gives us a new piece of unique equipment for Jace, and casting passives for Ares, Bernhardt, Tomahashiba, and the Transcender. They're in the update schedule on Concord, and the link is down by the like button. Okay, let's talk about why we should summon Enya. Because we should. In case that wasn't clear, we should. We should summon for Enya. After acting, she can make a prophecy about the first skill an allied unit will use on their turn. When the ally uses that skill, thus fulfilling the prophecy, Enya gets a talent stack that gives her a permanent +1 range, and if the prophesied skill deals damage, its cooldown is reduced by 5. After Enya has 3 talent stacks, whenever an ally fulfills a prophecy, they get to act again. Her prophecy has a 2-turn cooldown trigger, so she can essentially cast a free act again without using her action every 3 turns. She has 3 unique 1-cost skills. The first is a single target attack that deals 1.5 times damage, plus 10% for each talent stack she has. This also passively reduces all her skill cooldowns whenever an ally fulfills a prophecy. The second is a single target heal. If she has at least 2 stacks, she can heal a second unit. This also passively grants her silence immunity whenever an ally fulfills a prophecy, making her almost perpetually immune to silence. The third is a faction buff for Yeles Legends. It triggers automatically whenever an ally fulfills a prophecy, granting plus 15% damage when entering battle. When an Act Again effect is triggered by a faction buffed unit, 2 of their debuffs are stripped, and they're immune to debuffs for 1 turn. Let me reiterate, this is a 1-cost auto faction buff that's not locked behind a 3C at level 70. Her unique 2-cost skill is a 3-line AoE that clears enemy terrain, deals 0.3 times damage, heals allies within the span by 3 times her int, dispels up to 3 buffs from enemies and clears up to 3 debuffs from allies, and reduces affected allies' cooldown triggers by 1. Woo! Okay, now onto her 3-cost skills. Skills plural? Kind of. She has one of those skills that swaps into another one after it's used. Zilong really wanted to make sure you're getting enough bang for your buck with this unit. It starts off as a summon that creates a duplicate of a targeted unit. This can be an ally or an enemy. This duplicate has the stats of the original unit and can receive Yeles faction buffs. Summoning a duplicate also lets Enya act again and creates a little safe zone in 2 rings around where she cast the skill. Within this safe zone, Enya has access to the second form of her 3C, and allies take 25% less AoE damage and heal after acting. If Enya ends turn outside the safe zone, it disappears and her 3C reverts back to the summon. The second form of her 3C passively lets her make prophecies about enemy skills in addition to allied ones. The main difference here is that when you're making a prophecy about your allied skills, you're essentially picking what skill you're going to use next with that unit, but when you're making a prophecy about an enemy, they get to choose what skills they use, obviously, so you're just kind of disincentivizing them from using the skill that you choose. If the enemy fulfills a prophecy, instead of getting a faster cooldown, the skill's cooldown will increase by 2. If Enya's stacks are maxed, instead of getting to act again, the enemy is afflicted with a status that makes them immediately end their turn. The second form of the 3C can also be used actively to give an ally 20% damage reduction, immunity to debuffs, and, if cast on a duplicate, causes them to swap positions with their original. We'll summarize all this in the notes for noobs, so don't worry about this being way too much. I mean, it is way too much, that's one of the reasons why we're summoning for this unit. She's a member of Origins of Light, buffed by Dehart, Jugler, and Freya, Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizroth, the Sage of the Trees, and Isolde, and Yelus Legends buffed by Landius, Sigma, and herself, Enya. For bonds, she doesn't unlock anyone else's bonds, and she doesn't need anyone else for her own bonds. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for... Just kidding. Who cares? It doesn't matter what her factions are for PvE content. Just think of the most powerful unit that gets used for a given battle, and Enya can just clone it. As such, she's a member of the highest scoring leaderboard teams for Nidhogg, Fenrir, Sleipnir, Jormungandr, and Hugin and Munin. She breaks Fenrir so badly that Chinese players passed the 32-bit integer limit, rolling their scores back over into negative numbers. Zilong did fix this eventually, but I wonder if that will come pre-patched on Global. Sorry if my voice sounds a little rough while recording this, I do have a little bit of a head cold, but we're pushing through. On the PvP side, she is a perennial first ban. During this meta, at least till LLR Dragonslayer comes out, we started to see Bright Summoner as a very common de facto first pick, since the first ban always has to go to Enya. After Ilya and Dragonslayer come into play, and we start to see Enya actually make it through pick and ban occasionally, she is a dangerous meta unit, so she'll be useful to have in the box for many seasons to come. Put her in immediately at 3-star as ban bait, and you've got instant value. For her build is actually pretty easy, since her kit is loaded with automatic passive team support. Put her in her mage class and give her traditional healer gear, Night Bloom, AoE protection armor, which I refuse to call by its lazily mistranslated name, Tenyo's headdress, and swordsmith metal, all enchanted with crystal. You probably have half this stuff already. Okay, let's move along to the notes for noobs. Enya is a no-brainer must-summon for both PvE and PvP. Dump your resources till you get her. She has long range with single target and AoE potential. She has Actigens, cooldown reduction, and debuff immunity for herself and allies. She has a 1-cost auto faction buff. She can clear terrain. She can summon a whole-ass full-power duplicate of another unit, creating a 2-ring safe zone that passively heals your team and protects them from AoE. She's not bond blocked by anyone, and she's cheap and easy to build. Good luck, friendos. This brings us to my usual reminder about upcoming banners. The only downside of dumping resources on Enya is that this is an anniversary update, which means we're going to be inundated with other summoning opportunities. The other limited banners, with Wehttam, AO, and Apotheosis are coming back. There will also be the usual Langrisser 1-3, 4-5, and mobile chapters 1-2 wishlists, plus an open wishlist up to and including Tyrantel and Tabers. There's also an equipment wishlist for the whales. There's also another chance to get Emir on a raid-up banner with Hoffman. Rounding out the month, we'll have Destiny banners featuring Sword of Light and Shadow, Tatalia and Kaguya, Landius, Yulia, and Jugler, and Theon, Elise, and Lostum. Next month's major update is also a must-summon, specifically for Apex Arena. It features the twins Alia and Ilya from the Wonderswan game, headed up by Zion and Tiana, so more real Langrisser characters at least. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Enya. I'm obviously going to be summoning like crazy till I get 1 copy. I don't need to summon for dupes. She's powerful enough that I can start using her at 3 stars and build her up the old-fashioned way through Gates of Fate. How about you? Let us know what your summoning plans are in the comments or on This Old Neon's Discord. Thank you so much for watching, and extra special, sincere thanks to our Langrisser tier channel members, Levitt, Jerome Meyer, Kate Soon, Jorge Luis, and welcome to our newest member, Unknown Gaming. Thanks for supporting the channel, especially at this time of year. I wish you all the best of luck, and I will catch you in the next Should You Summon.